Yeah, you don't put shoes on in Texas until you knock them on the counter or something to make sure the scorpions.
Scorpions?
aren't in them.
Yeah,
Scorpions.
I don't like scorpions.
Scorpions were nasty.
All right.
Yeah. All right,
At
it's
least I
time.
can see the tarantulas.
Call this meeting to order. This is the July meeting at the town of East Troy. It is 6:30 PM. Roll call, Tarkowski here.
Leonard here.
Reyes here.
Church here.
Johnner here.
All right, pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kim, are all of our postings in order for tonight's meeting?
Yes, they are.
All right, agenda. Can't add anything. I don't know if there's anything anybody wants removed, but if there's no changes to the agenda, we'll need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for July 8th, 2024 as presented.
I'll second.
Barb Church, second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, meeting minutes. First one is the May meeting. I only had one change on page 4 under Bruce Lake Memorial Park. I didn't get that report. I guess, Michelle, you did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that should be Michelle. Supervisor Williams.
I have a change on page 5.
All right, Jim, page 5, you have something?
Yes, under attorney report, the last bullet, the roll call has Supervisor Wales and Supervisor Worker voting.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, I guess I wondered, isn't this really the June 10th meeting minutes?
Yes, I noticed that as soon as I looked down.
Because, yeah, but then, when I looked at the new business, the second bullet, I think that was still carryover from the May meeting and should be removed from the June meeting minutes.
That was done the previous.
Reviewed it, I crossed it all up.
I deleted I didn't see red or black on any of that.
Yeah.
So you're right, that should be out, right?
No,
Where
I
are you
didn't.
talking?
So on the new business,
That's
Oh,
all
yeah.
bullet two.
point 2,
Yep.
yeah, I think
Thank
should be
you.
removed.
Yeah.
I think that was from carryover from May.
Yeah.
And then in the treasurer's report on bullet number 3, and maybe you re-listened to that, but I thought we talked about tabling a decision until we got additional quotes.
I think
We did.
initially it was July.
Yeah, we didn't.
But did we specify we were tabling it because we were looking for additional quotes?
I was getting more information from other municipalities,
Oh.
not putting it out for quotes. Just getting what other people are doing.
Oh,
By, and what their costs are. I thought we were gonna get an actual cost,
so did I, yeah.
not an official bid deal per se, but say,
That's what I
you're gonna do an
Right, but I
audit
didn't
for
know
us.
that I needed to
What is the cost?
state why we were tabled, you know,
Oh,
why the
okay.
decision was being. So I
Okay.
can include the reason why it was being tabled. I didn't feel it was necessary. So you want me to add that in?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Jim is still reviewing the one we have from Baker Tilly.
No,
Yeah, that was in here. Second bullet.
I did that already.
Oh, you're,
Yeah, for July, which is now.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's not on this month's agenda because I didn't get to it.
right, because we don't have additional numbers.
Yeah.
That was the discussion was, I believe Supervisor Reyes said maybe sometimes it's good to look at other vendors, but in order to do that comparison, you would need also to have a cost.
Yeah, I don't think we specifically stated that we would get quotes, but it was to investigate other vendors.
Okay. All right, so the way then we have this, we did amend the second bullet then, or that'd be the third bullet?
It's the third
Third
bullet.
bullet, okay.
So I'll add in there until July while more information when more information will be available on a variety of different vendors.
Okay.
To that effect.
All right,
Thank you.
Barb, anything? Joe, anything?
You already caught mine.
All right, Tyson, anything?
Hmm.
All right, then we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the official Town of East Troy Board meeting minutes for Monday, June 10th, 2024 as amended.
Second.
Hold on here. Getting myself out of line here. We're approving the agenda now, or are we approving
Minutes.
the minutes? Okay, well then the minutes were May 13th.
No, that was
No,
one of
no,
the
that was
corrections.
changed.
June.
That's one of the
That's one of the
corrections.
corrections. It should actually.
June what?
June
10th.
10th.
Okay, I didn't put that on mine. All right, so we have a motion and a second then to approve the minutes from June 10th as amended.
Correct.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. All right. That was the only meeting minutes, correct? Okay. All right, clerk treasurer's report. okay.
Treasurer's report for June 2024. Total receipts were $36,068.65. Transfers for June were $429,428. Interest earned was $570.93. Balance as of May 31st was $7,726.67. Total funds for June were $473,794.25. Checks paid in June were $464,560.53, leaving a balance of $9,233.72.
Okay. Any
There are
questions?
two highlighted. I got bank statements this afternoon and I didn't get all of them, so that's why there's two highlighted blank spots there.
spots. Okay. Any questions? If not, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Town of East Troy Treasurer's report for the month of June 2024 as presented.
All right, do we have a- Ty, second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries.
Any questions on my clerk treasurer report? Before I
The
do-
new part-time employee, was that from the police department or another
Yes,
one?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you said you didn't get to get other audit
Not yet.
estimates?
Anything
Okay,
else?
nothing on that, nope.
Okay. For the loan quotes, I contacted, actually 6 different banks. The Board of Commissioners, Public Lands, their rate was 6% up to 20 years. First Citizens State Bank was 5.85. Citizens Bank was 5.89 if we move our money there. And I believe that Leah, included you on the email she sent. And then Associated Bank told me they couldn't beat the BCPL rate, so they recommended we go with them. So, and I included the 2 emails I got from the different banks, so everybody could see that First Citizens emailed me on June 20th, and Citizens Bank emailed me on June 27th. So I wasn't playing any favoritism between 2 banks.
Any questions on that? If not, I guess we're looking for a motion to approve the First Citizens Bank quote at 5.85%. We have a motion.
Oh, we're not going with the Board of,
No, because that's
Commissioner?
6%.
They're higher.
oh, for the loan, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally, the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands is lower, but I believe the last couple times, First Citizens Bank beat them, which is highly unusual. So,
And the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands, that's always where, like, my starting point. I always go to see what their rate is, so.
I'll make a motion,
oh, go ahead,
did you have a question?
Not yet.
I'll make a motion, we approve the quote for the 2024 town loan with First Citizens State Bank at 5.85%.
I'll second.
All right, Joe, second, discussion? Yes, Ty.
I'm not sure if this is the time to bring this up, but my question is, the amount that we're borrowing is $1,441,000.
Correct.
But when you add up moving forward, and maybe this is before, in resolution 5, the total is $1,457,000. Then in resolution 6, the total is $1,334,138. How do we come up with this?
Number 6 has nothing to do with the loan. Nothing. That's the budget amendments. That has nothing to do
Okay.
with the loan.
Okay. So we're
But in
16,
five,
we're $16,000 short of, on,
Because
are we just taking money out of something else?
actually from last month, the sheet I gave out with the breakdown for everybody because the transportation aids don't come out till after our budget is done, the transportation aids increased by $16,000. That's why the loan is $16,000 less than,
So then we could take that 16,000 from someplace else?
nope, it's money the state's giving us.
Oh, okay,
Yep, it's
gotcha.
transportation
Okay.
aids.
All right.
Okay, that answers that. Okay, so then, we have a motion and a second to approve, the loan quote for the First Citizens Bank at 5.85%. On the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay. And any other questions for Kim on the money stuff here before we move on? No? Okay. All right, public comments. 4 minutes. I did not bring my phone today, so the timer will be Jean.
I have one. Do I have to get up?
I got one.
I just want to say a big congratulations and thank you to Mr. Todd Shield for serving the town of East Troy for 25 years. His anniversary date was July 1st. Thank you.
Way to go.
25 years.
25 years.
It's a big number. All right. Okay. Public comments, anyone? Joe, John? Nobody? Okay. No
well,
public
maybe
comment.
I
You want?
could take a minute.
Sure.
So, some of you know that I was involved in an accident at our famous intersection of County L and Stone School Road. And so I am looking, as I thought about, we recently passed the ATVs and UTVs on L, a little different perspective after having that experience. So I've reached out to the county and I am going to propose reducing the speed limit on County Road L, at least for a section there because of that blind spot where cars come over the hill before that intersection, and flashing lights of a dangerous intersection. I know Todd put up a dangerous intersection sign, but I think the county should put flashing lights there. So I reached out to Rick Stacy at the county and he directed me to reach out to the Safety Commission. He said he'll help me get it on their agenda, and then he encouraged public input when we get it on the agenda at the county level. So I will be sharing that publicly. I could potentially also share it on the Town of East Troy website if everyone is in agreement. But I think as well, it'll help with the ATVs on that road. And I think the county said they would pull the accident history. They said we wouldn't have to do that, but I think we know there's been quite a bit there. So just trying to be a little proactive. in
All right,
that
well-
intersection.
Yep, good idea, but government to government, that's a board decision, so we should put that on the agenda for August to have the board vote on that, because you're directing county action, and they have no idea if it's a town decision or not. So we should put that on the agenda for August. Nothing wrong with
Okay.
talking to them, but the thing is, and we done that at County L and Stone School Road. We requested that intersection be looked at, and they,
That's the one. Yep.
right,
I'm
no,
talking about-
okay, Stone
That's
School,
what I'm
okay,
talking about.
the other one. by the school.
That's it.
Phil?
Stone School. and
Stone
Oh, you're talking
School
about
and
Stone.
L.
Okay,
Stone
I
School
thought you
and
were,
Al and Miramar.
okay, but that's not where your accident was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I
It was
there.
not by your house. Were you there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, were you?
You're
So
telling
it
me
wa-
where my accident was.
No, when we talked last week, I thought it was right at your house. I said, right next to your house.
Oh, no.
You were down, okay, so that is a point there, but yeah, we should still do that. Jim, you think, you got any input on that? Because normally,
No, I think
As a
it'll
rep-
actually help the request if we have a positive town board recommendation
Okay,
for that.
right,
okay.
right. And that don't mean they're not gonna start looking at it, because they do have to schedule the safety committee, they have to put it on their agenda,
Right.
okay? And I don't know when it is. Do you know when that's coming up, chief? The safety, committee, highway safety?
Assume in August.
No, okay, you don't know
Because
what,
they only meet quarterly, once every 4 months.
Oh.
So
okay,
I think August is when their next
okay.
safety meeting is gonna be.
Okay, you don't know if it's middle of the month, end of the month, first of the month?
It's usually in the first 2 weeks.
Okay, it's gonna be kind of close here, but they'll, even if we give them
Yeah,
that.
our meeting's the 19th
Oh, yeah,
of August, yeah.
because of the primary.
Oh, I think we should do it anyway, though, be stronger, but, that intersection has had issues. There was a tree there that,
Got trimmed a little bit, yeah.
yeah, and we wanted it gone.
Mhm.
And of course, the county said, well, you know, it's your road. It's like, no, it's your road, you know, and as it turns out, that tree in question is on private property, but where you have to stop in order to look down L, it is in the way. They did trim it up some, they refused to take it out totally. But yeah, that's a 5-legged intersection. We're talking, you know, roundabout, and of course, when the people heard roundabout there, they were calling into the county and, you know, going nuts about it, but, so it's good. Okay,
Yeah, they did say, like what you would propose to make it safer, and I said maybe a 5-way stop or a roundabout, and I said, I'm sure that won't happen, but at a minimum, I think if we reduce the speed limit and get some flashing lights for dangerous intersections.
yeah, and again, that's their road, so
Right,
Todd can't do anything on that road as far as signing,
right, that's why I went to,
you know.
reached out to the county level.
Okay, all right,
Unless we're gonna start planning our budget meetings, and we could have a special meeting before budget meetings,
Not before
depending
August.
on when it is, okay.
that's early. Okay,
All right.
that's it for public comments.
Yeah.
All right, my report, I have a report in the packet. I will add one thing to it. I've also been in contact with the people from Oakwood Cemetery. They have an issue with the Starbucks there where people are gonna be ordering their coffee, basically is right next to the cemetery. And the concern is you got people visiting a cemetery or a burial going on, and they're listening to people order their coffee because it's right there. So about having some screening. Unfortunately, the planning commission from the village of East Troy is meeting at the same time we are here, so I couldn't be there, but I did talk to Matt Johnson and expressed our concerns on that. And he said they have to change their own ordinance because their ordinance says, hey, they only have to worry about a buffer if it's village to village property. And of course, that's not in the village. That cemetery is in the town. So hopefully they'll work something out because doing nothing is not really a good thing. And we'll see.
I took a couple phone calls about that.
It just-
Taken several.
Yeah, so they're gonna,
Many, many.
as well.
yeah.
Someone was concerned actually about even like
How close it
how
is to
close
the
it was to
burial.
the actual site.
Yeah, it's right there.
Damage to the site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Itself.
So I've been getting calls on that one. like I said, I didn't note that. And the only other thing I want to bring up is the Beach Road Bridge in my report. I had a discussion with the programmer from the DOT, and even though that railroad is not an official, transit type railroad or freight railroad, it's a low-speed electric museum railroad. The DOT has to follow the railroad process, which means that bridge will not be built until 5 years from now. Okay? The railroad adds 2 years to the process. Hope the bridge lasts that long.
What do you do in the meantime?
Well, in the meantime, it's still getting inspected every year, and hopefully there's not near any postings. I know the work that we did on top of the ceiling of the deck, that helped a lot. But it will be, I think, let me see where my report is here. It should be after Kim. Yeah, fiscal year 29. So that's 5 years from now.
Okay, how is the money affected since we don't know what the inflationary rate is?
That's
going to be?
all in the state municipal agreement. There's an inflation factor applied to every year.
Okay,
So the total grant is 100% if we replace that bridge in kind. But the total grant is $2.5 million. So that certainly will cover replacing that bridge. So the only reason I highlighted is it's not going to be in 3 years. It's going to be in 5 years. So.
And
hopefully-
what's driving that 5 years? I don't.
Uh,
Railroad.
yeah,
Yeah,
the fact that
federal
it's a
process,
railroad.
when they're designing it, according to the Facilities Development Manual of the state, the FDM, there's a process that if you have a railroad on the job, or wetlands for that matter, there's another process that's added to the step. And that by itself lengthens the time frame. So I was hopeful that since it's not an active freight railroad, that process is really moot. But no, they checked and said, nope, federal money, federal process, federal law. That's what it's got to be done. So, okay, that's all I had unless there's any other questions on my report. All right, Supervisor Church.
I started typing this in May, so if there's an error, it should be June activity report for June board meeting. So,
Okay. All right. Any questions on Barb's report? All right. Public relations report is in the packet. The website added 2 new subscribers, YouTube 4, Facebook 13, and then the goals and challenges are listed there. Public Works Department, Todd, anything to add to your report?
It's 25 years.
Yeah.
Just the last
A lot
month's
of
worth.
creaks and cracks and.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. I was on vacation. David took a week's vacation. Jeff took a week's vacation. So everybody was filling in, helping out here and there. But getting back into the swing of thing today, we did get the complete swing set, or not swing set, playground torn down. There was some interest by the church by the Elegant Farmer in it. I am going to try, or if you know who, I don't remember who the contact was for that, to have them come and look at it. It's going to be a lot of work if they want it, but I'm not helping them.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
I took pictures, so we can send pictures here. This is what it looked like beforehand. You can have them, you can put it together. We're done with it. But
Well,
that's
they're gonna have to sign a liability.
Yeah, and then if they want it, then I'll reach out to Jim and,
So neither one of you heard anything from them since?
no,
Not the initial request.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, reach out and see if they're still.
yeah, the railroad had something over the weekend, so they wanted us to wait till
Right.
today.
Okay.
And supposedly, the last email I got from Jeff Thompson, delivery schedule sometime this week for the new stuff.
Okay.
And they will not even start on that until our site work is done.
Okay.
So I gotta send them pictures.
When you're
Hopefully
done.
between tomorrow and Wednesday.
Okay.
Site work will be done so they can get it scheduled and as soon as we can.
Show up and put them in. Did they ever tell you how long it takes them to erect, or
Less than a week,
less than a week?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
so.
Does that include, I'm sorry, does that include like everything, the mulch or?
Yeah, the mulch and
rubber or
everything's
whatever
coming
they-
from that, yeah.
Oh,
But
They'll
then you're
drop
gonna
it.
put in the
Yeah.
other stuff around the edges, right?
Yeah, we'll put the mulch in once it's delivered. But that's
And
all
the
part of
little
it.
ones that we're saving.
Yep, those are all set off to the side. So,
All right,
We had good weather, so we jumped on it and got it done.
all right, very good.
Yeah, Jeff did say that, there were some people who weren't scheduled till the end of July, but they got pulled in because their site was ready and others weren't with all the rain and stuff. So, yeah, appreciate Todd and the crew
Hopefully,
getting us to the top of the list.
All right, thank you, Todd. All right. Police report, Chief Gorecki.
Before I get to the numbers, today, FirstNet was here. All the squad department phones have been switched over to FirstNet. All the squad cars are now running on FirstNet. And a quick example, the unmarked squad or clean top, the light blue squad, we were running with a Wi-Fi puck. And I was driving that car. And pretty much every day, got to pull it out of the garage, turn on the Wi-Fi puck, get everything up and running. And it would take about 10 minutes to connect to the internet. Out there today, took about 35 seconds. So the speeds that we're seeing with the computer running and getting information back in the returns is a lot better. And I think that's just going to keep going that way. With FirstNet, their coverage is just a little bit better in the area. So,
Good.
With that, so through the month of June, a little bit of an oddity going on here. If you look at the year to date, January, February, and March started out pretty fast with 957, 1,000, and then we dropped off. Quite a bit. So the last 3 months, we've only had a little over 800 calls for service. So usually you would expect to see the opposite. The closer you get into summer, we're having the reverse effect. So I'm not complaining. I'm just putting it out that that's a oddity that you don't see very often. But for the year, we're at 5588 for calls. We're still averaging 1.2 calls per hour. For the year, from January 1 to now, we've written 743 citations, or about 4 citations a day. And just a little research, because we had an incident Friday night. So far this year, we've actually had 3 vehicle pursuits. Friday night, Officer Medina reported reckless drunk driver on 43, got behind the vehicle, tried stopping it, took off. Exited on Highway 11, thought he could Dukes a hazard the bridge that's out, didn't make it, didn't get hurt, but ran. Ultimately, he ended up going to jail, and there's at least 13 pending charges from our agency for that. So something that kind of hits the news media, you don't think about it, small local department. We've been in 3 pursuits this year with one just Friday night. So
One ended in my driveway.
yes. So just wanted to mention that we are keeping busy and doing things out there. For the year, I believe, as far as boating citations, I know last weekend they had 5 citations. I think we have a total of 7 for the year for the boating season. So, yes, sir.
I have a question, and this has been brought to me, Chief. I don't want you to. What are the water officers? Is there what do they have to do or to be a water officer? Like, what classes or certifications?
They have to be a certified police officer in the state of Wisconsin.
That's it.
That is it.
So they don't have any
There's,
water training or.
the boater, they could take a boater safety,
Okay.
but if they don't meet the requirements because of age, which most police officers don't,
They?
it's just field training with the other officers. DNR does offer some boat classes, but it's not really to train you on how to be a Marine officer.
Okay.
There's like, that would be something that you would search out in Florida or somewhere that has large bodies of water where they actually have a full-time year-round Marine patrol.
Sure. The only a couple things that have been brought to my attention
Sure.
are like after, slow no wake,
Mm-hmm.
with the wind and stuff, people are, you have to go a certain speed to be able to navigate your boat. A couple of people have come to me and said that they've been pulled over or approached, and they're like, we're just trying to navigate the water, and it seems like that's all they're worried about is a slow no wake.
That is,
I understand the officer, that's their judgment. I'm just letting you know what
Yeah.
three people came to me already.
And on the reverse, Joe has come to me and expressed that we're not enforcing slow and wake enough on the lake. So if you two get together and have that group together, we'll
it's
get an
not me.
octagon and so have
It's
them
not
duke
me.
it out.
I'm letting you know what the
Yeah.
people have, and I'm out on the lake probably 3 times a week, and I'm seeing some things. A lot of people need to learn how to drive a boat in the first place, but I understand there's only one or two of you out there.
And there's a couple ways to approach it. And I try and think about it and talk to my people to be sensible. I'm happy to make adjustments, but when you make those adjustments, there's always consequences to it. So we are never, ever going to get 100% of our boating population to agree with the way that any police chief enforces. I would love to a hardline stand. Our judge on board that if we can prove it in court, they fine, because that would eliminate all of the problems that you're hearing, all of the problems that Chairman Clarkowski's hearing, because our boat would be empty of boaters because they wouldn't want to put their boat on there because they would know they're getting a ticket. So trying to regulate the recreation part of it with the safety part of it is kind of where I've counseled the people at, having come and worked on Delavan Lake and been in charge of their boat patrol. That's the way I approach stuff there when I was in charge. Like slow and wake within the shoreline or by a jet ski, those are safety issues. And I think they need to be enforced vigorously.
Sure.
Some of the other stuff, not so much. And you don't have a cover on your battery. That is a bad situation. I've seen boats explode.
Sure.
Or the aftermath of boats exploding. And so that is a safety issue. But do I need to write the 80-year-old grandpa that just put his motorboat in the water a ticket for not having his battery cover secured? Probably can talk to him about that and say, get the ratchet strap on there.
I get it. I just
wanted trying to balance that is where we're all at with, especially with boating, because if I'm on a boat, I'm having fun, and if the police stop me, you're stopping my fun. And so sometimes hot weather, humid weather gets people get irritated quicker in a boat than they do in a car, and I don't know why.
No air conditioning on the boat.
Well, that's true, unless you're going wide open in the slow and wake zone.
No, I get that. No, I was approached by.
No, not a
people.
problem.
I just wanted to ask to make sure that they knew that I asked for them, and
Yeah,
they gave
not
a
a
great
problem.
answer, and I appreciate it.
And like I said, it's funny that you say that, because on the reverse side, sitting right next to you, 4 days ago, Joe and I talked, and he's getting calls that we're not enforcing the slow no wake enough on the lake.
Okay.
So again, this is a perfect situation, and I'm glad we're able to hash it out right here and let the public hear that there are two sides, and we do the best that we can, understanding I can't make all of the boaters happy no matter what we do.
Right.
Either way. So if we can continue having a safe boating season like we did last year, and I can stand here and nothing has occurred, we've had a successful boating year. And it doesn't matter which side, because every side ended this season successfully without damage to property, damage to boats, damage to people. So.
All right. Any other questions for Chief? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. East Troy Area Emergency Services District Report. Supervisor Church.
There are a couple of things I'd like to point out. I'd like to again thank Clerk Buchanan, Chairman Clarkowski, and trustees, your supervisors, Reyes and Leonard, for going to the ETA ESC workshops. I think as much education as we can get, it helps us unify with making decisions in the best interest of the community. I would like to say that Ehlers has completed its evaluation of the ETA ESD and the Troy Center Fire Department. The two departments have financially been evaluated by Ehlers to see what results would come of a merger. This evaluation will take next steps from the Tri-Troy executive meeting in August. But the study has been completed. With a caveat to point out that its focus was on finances and really didn't dive into the effect of personnel. So I think that's a big caveat that needs to be included in next steps. That's all I have for my report. Are there any questions?
Okay. Thank you very much. Park Committee report, Supervisor Reyes.
So we had our first meeting on July 1st. As Todd already mentioned, yep, the equipment is potentially shipping this week. You should be getting a call. As a committee, we did start to look into the Army Lakeland, so we've got some work happening there. We had, thank you for the input from Supervisor Church and Chairman Clarkowski. We went through some of the restrictions and those kind of things that are listed, starting to understand some of that. There was also mention of maybe some cleanup at the park here at Jim Burns as far as brush and down trees or the grills, and talk about whether we want to maintain them or remove them. With the activity and the things that we were looking at, we thought maybe, one other thing we looked in or was suggested was maybe a platform for the trolley. I think that has come up at another meeting before too. So we probably have to get some donations or some fundraising for some kind of activities like that, and understand the budget for next year as well, as we look at some of the activities that we're considering. But of note, with some of the activity and just getting started, we did schedule a meeting for August 5th. Rather than waiting until September for our next meeting, and that'll be at 6:00 p.m. on August 5th.
One thing
Yeah, that's the calendar.
I mentioned to you, the Calamine Land Trust did send some of their biologists out to the Army Lake property in question to do a inventory. I never seen their final report, but verbally they said they found just a large array of rare plant communities in there. You should make contact with them to see if they are still interested in that. At one time, when Barb and I were chasing this one around a little bit, the land trust did say that that might be a property that they could help manage. Okay. And again, our initial thought was, DNR, but the DNR says if they buy that land, you have to have hunting, fishing, trapping, and whatever.
Right.
And of course, the agreement with the Salvation Army is no hunting. So that's
Right.
kind of killed the DNR part. But the Calamine Land Trust, that could be one that could be a helpful partner on that. So just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah.
Calamine Land Trust?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then, like I said, understanding the budget next year, if there's an option to get that property cleaned up, because obviously one of the restrictions is it can't be transferred to anyone as well. So if it can be cleaned up for trails or
Yep.
if there are any other options.
Low impact activities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the first meeting and we'll have minutes at the next meeting. Well, after August 5th.
Okay.
Did you have something else?
I have a question.
Didn't include?
I'm gonna tee this up for you. Does the park committee have a budget? And if it does, where is it? Or what is it?
It has been just designated funds, right? Well, we specifically
Impact
did the
fees.
100,000.
Well, we have the impact fees, which are on your treasurer's report. And for general expenses for the park, for this year anyway, we have 106, but 100 was kind of, so it's basically
Borrowed.
$6,000 a year for the park, but that includes the porta potties, mulch, paintings,
So-
anything else, Todd?
All right, so where's that?
Yeah, there's electric, but that's a separate,
Oh,
the electric utility is a separate line item of parks.
You get some weed spray, miscellaneous stuff, not a whole lot of cost.
Yeah, and again, if there's a special project, keep in mind, we still have ARPA funds that do have to be spent by the end of this year. If there's something for that platform that's simple enough to do this year, it might be better to get it done this year than wait next year when we'd have to then put a line item, like we did with the park equipment, you know?
Mhm.
So that's a possibility. The railroad, right now, I believe when they stopped, they just put out that little step. deal.
Right.
It's not really good for young or old,
Right.
you know?
But that equipment belongs to them. That doesn't belong to the town.
Right, they took
And
it
it's
out.
in their right of way, so it has nothing to do with the town.
It's true, but, you know, that's something we can discuss,
Mhm.
so.
I mean,
Okay.
if
Another
they're
question.
comfortable letting their passengers get off using that thing.
Yeah, well, they never asked and they never really proposed anything different.
Right, but there's more and more activity, you know, like now I see on their website, and they didn't reach out, but the Fridays in October is now Fridays and Saturdays.
Oh, for Halloween trains.
Yeah.
Retreat trains.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All
The
right.
other question was the
the back,
handicap accessible.
yeah, we didn't go and look, is
Are
the
these-
porta potty handicap accessible? That's what I thought, okay. So it is the little bigger one.
The ramp.
Because during the Halloween thing too, you know, there's people there that want to change their kids' diapers and stuff. Of course, that never fails, but.
All right. Any other question on park committee? Okay, next is you also, Michelle, and that's Booth Lake
Yes.
Royal Park.
So I included the May meeting minutes, but from the June meeting, just a few highlights. We'll be meeting again next week. Then we'll have the meeting minutes completed. There was an FDA audit of the kitchen already this year in the foods area. No major findings, but a few things to get cleaned up. Next month, there was also Don V, I don't back or recall, or from the Booth Lake Management District presented. And I'm going to ask him to come to our meeting next month, looking at options for treating the milfoil. With the mild winter last year, there's increase in the milfoil, and they're looking at options of either treating with herbicide, a new herbicide, or which has been used at other lakes, and they're looking at comparing to other lakes in northern Wisconsin, or cutting and harvesting activity. And it will impact, but there'll be cost impact to all of the communities to manage the milfoil.
But that
A
would be,
three-year plan.
yeah, but that would be
That's
similar.
the
Vantage-
Lake Management District. That's not the municipalities.
It's not the town.
And they, like I said, he
They're-
presented to.
He's
the
gonna ask,
park.
he's gonna ask for money from the town for that?
Well, yeah, because all of the residents and the park is, I think you said 11 acre, or 11%
Oh, of the
of the
shoreline?
frontage
Oh,
of
that's
the
how
lake.
he's bringing that part in.
And so that their share, the share for the park is split
And
between the
that
three
should be in the
communities.
park budget,
Budget.
Right.
and then the park would ask.
But there's a
for-
significant difference between the two options, and so I think it's best, and I'm gonna have them come and present.
That's good idea,
laid out
because
for them.
otherwise it's a big surprise and then it's a no, so, okay. Anything else on, Booth Lake? See, you elect the elected officers, right?
In May,
May,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so, no, it was just primarily the FDA audit and, the milfoil was the June activity that
Okay.
we were looking at.
The FDA, is that annual inspection?
It's random and unannounced.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, potentially annual.
All right, any other questions for Michelle on Booth Lake? Okay, let's move on. Lake Beulah Management District report. Greg Thomas.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Lake Beulah Management District met on June 18th at 5:30 here at Town Hall. So far this year, the financials are running 23% over expectation. This is driven mainly by attorney costs in regards to the DNR dredging in one of the sensitive areas of the lake to protect that sensitive area. Budget discussions have started for 2025, and one of the goals of the budget is a 5% tax cut to the riparian owners for their share of the Lake Beulah management withdrawal from their tax due. The dredging issue was at W1905, It's a Little Road, was resolved with a compromise of a pier occurring within the riparian zone of the property, extending out 200 feet into the lake to a depth of, water depth of 3 feet. The pier compromise replaced the need to dredge and extend the current channel along the shoreline. The DNR supported this pier solution, and the pier permit was actually submitted to the town and approved at the May town board meeting. The Lake Beulah Management District Attorney will follow up with the DNR to confirm that their approval of the pier, to confirm their approval of the pier solution and the withdrawal of the dredging permit. Buoy replacement on Mill Lake was delayed this year due to equipment failure. We had to replace the John boat motor, and the buoys have all now been installed. We discussed the type of buoys. Some of the buoys are in need of replacement. The older buoys have a cap over the top that is a direct access to the flotation device of the buoy, and sometimes that leads to premature failure of these buoys. During the meeting, Stan Alger submitted his resignation as commissioner of the Lake Beulah Management District. He is also the aquatic plant harvesting manager, ending his term at the June meeting. The existing aquatic plant harvesting operations manager, his son Stu Alger, will continue to inform the commissioners of lake issues. All of the commissioners thanked Stan for his 17 years of service. And sort of to address Michelle's issue with milfoil, Stu Alger stated that the staff has noted more weed growth in the lake this year, with increased calls to the weed hotline regarding hotspots. And it was our, or Stu's suggestion that with the amount of rainfall that we've had this year, it's washed nutrients into the water that is enhancing weed growth this year. Stu mentioned some important dates that are upcoming. November 1st is the aquatic plant report is due to the DNR. And 2025 is the 5th year of the current harvesting permit. And a new permit will require an aquatic plant survey as part of the application. Also, due to the recent storms, the management district has received calls of downed trees in the water. The removal of these trees are the responsibility of the riparian owner and not the responsibility of the management district. Guidelines from the DNR encourage that these trees downed in the water be left in place to encourage a natural habitat where possible. We've added an additional lake bottom monitor this year, but the monitoring process has been put on hold because in an analysis of past years, they've noticed a definite regular activity with past seasons of monitoring, and they're developing new logistics and methods to analyze these monitors, and they've not been activated until this consultant review has been completed. The district still monitors the pumping action of the village of East Troy at well number 7, however. And we're still on the hunt for blue-green algae that some masses have been noticed floating in the water. Lake Beulah Protection and Improvement Association gave their annual report to the district. Tom Vanden Bogart gave his annual report, and the district donated $1,000 to their fish stocking program, which will include smallmouth bass. Tom did mention that there's evidence of spawning of this fish type in the lake, so that was encouraging. Every other year, the DNR also stocks the lake with walleye. So it's a two-step combo there. There was a Canadian goose roundup in the spring this year. While the mature birds were molting and the young fledglings had not developed their flight feathers. In both cases, the birds could not fly. The roundup netted 103 birds, and riparian owners needed to apply for this activity to occur. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is Tuesday, July 30th, and the annual meeting of the riparian owners is scheduled for August 27th at 7 o'clock here at Town Hall. That's my report.
Any questions?
Right. I have a question. If a riparian owner wants to remove the downed trees, do they need to get a permit from the DNR to do that, since it's within the 75-foot shore?
I would think that they would have to check with the DNR, but
Okay.
Obviously that question is about trees left in place where possible, offers a whole line of review scenarios.
Okay.
John?
Just a quick question. Down on sensitive area number 7 down there, there's a channel that's marked on the maps, but there's no buoys that are out there that distinguish exactly where the channel is. This time of the year, the lily pads come up, you have a very, very well-defined channel that gets you in and out of sensitive area number 7. I have 3 extra buoys. What would be the procedure or process if I wanted to take them in and out in the spring and the fall, just so that that's marked so nobody goes into sensitive area number 7?
There are private buoys on the lake. I think you should call Stu though
Okay.
to coordinate that.
All right, I'll follow suit, thank you.
His number is 262.
Okay,
363
okay,
5359.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Sure.
All right, recycling committee, anything, John?
Oh, nothing to report tonight.
Library report, anything, Christina?
Yes, I have a few items here. This is from the East Troy Lions Public Library Board Meeting, 11 June 2024. Number one, the first annual Children's Parade held on July 1st was a great success. Number two, the summer reading program is going well. Over 300 children, teens, and adults are participating. 138 attended the Snake Discovery Program. The library manned a group, the 2024 Chamber of Commerce Scavenger Games. Feedback was very positive because the library employees were in costume, reflecting an old school library setting. Number three, Benchmark of East Troy expanded their donation to the Nancy O'Connell Memorial. They donated all labor and materials for the project. Number four, new furniture for the lower level is in place, completing the updating of the lower level. Number five, the library board completed a review of a handbook for Wisconsin Public Library trustees and are now reading and discussing Wisconsin Public Library standards. That's all.
Thank you very much, and thank Christina.
Okay.
All right. Planning Commission report, Supervisor John, or you have anything at all?
Nothing new. We're meeting on Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay. All right, no unfinished business. Under new business, review special event permit policy, ordinance policy. This came about, well, probably 3 weeks ago. There was a question, actually the chief had the question. And I believe the discussion is really, are we following the ordinance, or is the ordinance clear enough? Does it need revision? Are we doing it right? Why don't you start out, Chief, on what your concerns were?
I don't have anything in front of me, but I recall the conversation, there's two different places in the ordinance. One talks about, the ordinance applies to any town-owned property, to have a special event. And another place in the ordinance talks about having to show proof of ownership of the property where you're hosting your special event, which leads me to believe that it applies to private property, which I don't necessarily agree with, so I constructed an email and sent it to Mr. Mills asking for clarification.
Do you want to read it? I have it here.
I'm sorry?
Do you need the email if you want to read it? I do.
Yeah. That way, my exact words are, or not my paraphrase.
Background, and I'll just read my entire email. Upon being hired back in 2022, I fielded several requests for special event permits for people hosting graduation and birthday parties at their private residence. I personally found that to be very strange and have approved all the permits. However, as we move forward, more and more people seem to be pushing the envelope. I took it upon myself to read Chapter 12, which covers special permits. My question for clarification is, under definition, it reads, all property owned by the town of East Troy, and says nothing about a person's private property. However, under section 12.65.060, section C and section D, it talks about legal ownership of the property. So I'm confused slightly as to, does this ordinance apply to all properties within the town or just town-owned properties? I'm getting wind that several property owners having potentially going to be holding large parties with bands and such at their homes for celebrations and weddings. I want to be consistent with all of them when asked. And I finished it with, I view this differently than a business owner having a party, at his or her place of business. I believe the definition can be argued that they would need a special event permit. I'd love to hear your thoughts and receive your guidance on this up and coming matter. So that's the email that I sent to Mr. Mills.
All right, and then you responded.
I did.
Yep.
But I would need to read that.
I got it.
I'll give it back to him.
So my response to the chief was, you were correct in your reading of chapter 12.65. Historically, we have only had people apply for events held in the town park. However, when you read all sections of the ordinance, it applies that it is applicable to all properties within the town. And the two sections where it talks about providing proof of ownership is on the application itself, which would be confusing to people. Sometimes we've had people apply if they were having weddings on their property, but I believe the original version of the ordinance said it applied to any gathering where 35 or more people would be gathering, ? I think this needs to go on the agenda for the board to determine if it wants to require a special event permit for graduation parties, weddings, business events, etc. Until it is addressed by the board, I think the definition section controls, and it only applies to use of town property. That makes sense because you would not otherwise have to require that a policy of insurance be had naming and insuring the town for at least $1 million in coverage per person. If the board only wants it to apply to town-owned properties, I think an amendment to the ordinance should be made to remove some of the confusing language.
All right. Now, we've had applications and requests every year for graduation parties, weddings, and whatever. Special event permit. Chief Lloyd looked at it. The basic problem there was a problem, but a potential problem was, where are these people gonna park? Okay, and on some of the bigger events, that was in the application that had to be filled out saying they're gonna be parking here and shuttled here or whatever. Most of them are not that size, but we've had plenty of private property, correct? Right, and of course, the main ones, of course, town park, and that's where some of that language comes from, especially with the insurance and whatever. So the question we have is, just as was stated by Jim, should we require them for all events? And I believe that 35 or more people, that I remember that being stated more than once. Should we continue that or not? We've done it for both town park and for private property. We have. Okay. So that's the question. Should we clear up the language in 1265 to take away some of this ambiguity that's making it a little difficult for the chief and you to do your job?
I just want to make one comment. I was never copied on this email. That's why it wasn't in your pocket.
I don't believe I was either.
Yeah, so it's all new to me too. So I was never included. That's why
I feel.
the four of you have no idea what's going
Mr.
on.
Chairman, are you looking for a motion then on this?
No, this is just a discussion here right now on what we think direction we should take. Should we have the attorney review that and make those changes? But if he's going to make changes, we need to say what changes we want.
Well, can we table it till the next meeting so we have time to look
And
at
have some
what's
background
going on
because they
and
don't
see
have
what's going on?
anything relevant to that topic.
Yeah, the discussion
never
was,
given anything.
should we do something with this? And I agree, the question should be answered either way, but having more time to look at it. But the town code, there is ambiguity there, and that was called out by the chief, and Jim responded to it, which basically opens the question back to us. What do we want? What do we want to do? So, yeah, we could make a motion to table it. I would say the two emails from June 20th could be forwarded to everybody. I could do that because I have a copy of it. June 20th and June 20th. So, any other comments on that from what you looked at so far?
Yeah, I believe that when you look at the definition section and then under regulations. Under regulations, it says, no special event shall be permitted to continue past the regularly posted park hours. So I think this was designed for town property only. And the only reference to record owners of title are on the application section. So any modification would just be taking that line off of the application. So there wouldn't be that much of a change.
All right, so then what we should do is we have it listed here as review, but since we are listing all items up for discussion, consideration, deliberation, possible formal action, yes, we should table it. And the agenda item for August should be to have that same discussion and then authorize the attorney to amend the ordinance if so directed by the board. So we need a motion to table this.
I make a motion, we table the review of the special event permit ordinance and policy until the August 2024 meeting.
I second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. And I will forward the email between the chief and the attorney and myself to everybody tonight or tomorrow. Okay, next item is, we have a couple resolutions. On the attorney's report.
We do. The first is resolution number 2024-5. There will be a change required under the now therefore be it resolved section in number 1. Between the words one and dollars in that first line, 1,000 needs to be inserted there. But otherwise, the resolution reads as follows. It's a resolution authorizing borrowing pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 67.12 sub 12. It reads, whereas the town board of the town of East Troy hereby finds and determines that it is necessary, desirable, and in the best interest of the town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, hereinafter referred to as a town, to raise funds for public purposes, including borrow $100,000 for park playground equipment, borrow $55,000 for town hall building. In parentheses, we have generators, courtroom, office remodel, meeting room upgrades, and shop siding and gutters. To borrow $151,500 for police department equipment, including the purchase of radios. Borrow $320,500 for fire/rescue expenditures as determined by the district, including the purchase of radios. Borrow $45,000 for DPW equipment. Borrow $700,000 for new roads, South Shore Drive, Honey Creek to Village Limits, Beulah Meadows, Wolfway, and Army Lake Road. Borrow $85,000 for old roads. That includes seal coating on Wilmer's Grove Road, Oak Ridge Road, Harmony Lane, and Division Road. And whereas the town board finds and determines that funding the costs of the above listed items is within the town's power to undertake and therefore serves a quote public purpose, end quote, as that term is defined in section 67.04 sub 1 sub B Wisconsin statutes. Now therefore be it resolved, 1, that the town shall borrow the sum of $1,441,000 on the terms set in a 10-year loan instrument due no later than 10 years from the date the note is executed for the financing of the above referenced items with said principal and interest to be levied as a direct annual irreplaceable tax upon all property in the town, and establishes a debt service fund is required by section 67.11 Wisconsin statute. Said note shall be with First Citizens State Bank of Whitewater. Said terms of the note shall include an interest rate of 5.85% and the date or dates of installment payments. The note and amortization schedule shall be attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference. Prepayment of this loan is allowed. 2, for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on the notes as the same becomes due, the full faith, credit, and resources of the town are hereby irrevocably pledged, and there is hereby levied upon all of the taxable property in the town a direct annual irrepealable tax in the years the loan is in existence. 3, so long as any principal of or interest on the note remains unpaid, the town shall be and continue without power to repeal such levy or obstruct the collection of said tax until all such payments have been made or provided for. After the issuance of the note, said tax shall be, from year to year, carried on to the tax roll of the town and collected in addition to all other taxes and in the same manner and at the same time as other taxes of the town for said years are collected. Section 4, there be and there hereby is established in the treasury of the town, if one had not already been created, a debt service fund separate and distinct from every other fund, which shall be maintained in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 67.11. Within the debt service fund, there is hereby established a separate and distinct account designated for the borrowed funds herein, and such account shall be maintained until the indebtedness evidenced by the note is fully paid or otherwise extinguished. 5, all prior resolutions, rules, or other actions of the town board or any parts thereof in conflict with the provisions hereof shall be, and the same are hereby rescinded insofar as they may so conflict. In the event that any one or more provisions of this resolution shall for any reason be held to be illegal or invalid, such illegality or invalidity shall not affect other provisions hereof. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption and approval in the manner provided by law. I did note under 2, it has note in plural, and it should just be note.
All right, we need a motion to approve resolution 2024-5. I will have additional change during discussion.
So I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-5 as amended.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Barb Church, second. Okay, under discussion here, the change under the new roads, South Shore Drive, yes. Honey Creek to village limits, that's what, Hams Road to village limits? That should be Hams Road.
Yep.
To,
It's Honey Creek Road
from
from Hams,
road to village limits.
from Hams. Road.
And I suppose as long as we're writing this, we should say Village of East Troy.
HAMMS?
Yes.
Yes. All right, is that the comment you had, Michelle? All right.
Hams were my grandmother's cousins.
All right, any other comments, questions before we vote? All right, on the motion to approve resolution 2024-5, resolution authorizing borrowing pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 67.12 sub 12 as amended. On the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries.
I'll get those tomorrow. The next resolution is 2024-6. It's a resolution amending the 2024 budget for the town of East Troy. This one calls for a roll call vote. It reads, whereas the town of East Troy Town Board has agreed upon a 2024 budget, and whereas it became necessary for the town to borrow funds to meet budgeted expenses and to attend to unforeseen emergencies. And whereas the town board approved borrowing $1,441,000 in resolution 2024-5. And whereas the town of East Troy is exempted from the publication of a class 1 notice of changes to an annual budget under Wisconsin statute section, I don't know why that symbol changes whenever I send it to you. 65.90 sub 5 sub A. Now therefore be it resolved. The town board amends the 2024 budget as follows. 1, revenue increases. Designated funds in the amount of $481,428. State grant / local transportation aids in the amount of $16,000. Loan / road construction in the amount of $169,641. 2, expenditure increases. Town hall building projects in the amount of $481,428. Fire / rescue in the amount of $94,000. New road construction in the amount of $91,641. This resolution was duly considered and adopted by the Town of East Troy Town Board pursuant to a vote, a blank for and blank against, and blank abstentions on this 8th day of July, 2024.
All right, need a motion to approve resolution 2024-6.
Be as amended, because I have to add that 1,000.
I'll make a motion that we approve Town of East Troy Resolution number 2024-6, resolution amending 2024 budget for the Town of East Troy as amended.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Joe, Johnner, second. Discussion, questions, comments? All right, on the motion to approve resolution 2024-6, roll call vote. Clarkowski, aye.
Leonard, aye.
Reyes, aye.
Church, aye.
Johnner, aye.
So the vote is 5-0. All right, resolution is approved. Okay, I believe that's it for you.
It is, although for next month, there was an error found in the no parking zone ordinance. There's a reference to
It's a
Beulah
typo.
Lake Road
It's a typo.
instead of
A and an N. all
Beulah
it is.
Lane Road.
I don't think we have to authorize him to change anything. I'm going to email Code Publishing and tell them to fix their typo.
Well,
That's
all
a typo?
ordinances,
It's a
it says
typo.
lake instead of lane.
Right, but it's an ordinance that,
Is already existing.
but we're changing it.
Yes,
One letter. It's a typo.
it doesn't matter.
You're gonna pay him to fix a typo?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm not gonna be sitting there in court and saying, that's not the road I was on.
That's exactly what's gonna happen if it's not changed.
Right, Michelle? Is that the road you were on?
Nope.
Okay, all right, so that should be on the agenda too then. Okay, special event permits, we have 2 of them.
I have 2 of them. The first one is for Galen Lawrence for the Jim Burns Memorial Park on July 13th. And the second one is for Todd Shield at the Jim Burns Memorial Park on August 10th. The chief has reviewed and approved both.
I'll make a motion that we approve the special event permits for Galen Lawrence for the Jim Burns Memorial Park for July 13th and a special permit for Todd Shield for Jim Burns Memorial Park for August 10th.
Second.
Ty, second motion, discussion. Chief, you have a question?
Just on the 13th, I want to make the board aware before they approve it. That is a memorial service, and the applicant was going to be asking the Army to be at the memorial service to do honors for that loved one, which includes a 21-gun salute. It's blanks that they fired, but I wanted to make the board aware before you approve it, so then you're not questioned afterwards.
Okay, all right. All right, so we have a motion and a second. No further discussion on the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries.
We'll make sure that that gets posted on the website.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Where
idea.
the, property owners would
Calls. You might want to put a time.
Yeah, we'll get.
We won't
details.
know the time
We'll try and
of
get some
the-
more details.
Thanks.
of the show.
All right, meetings.
All right, tomorrow, we'll see you all again. Board of Review from 5 to 7. July 10th and 17th at 6:30 our Planning Commission. July 17th at 6:30 is the Booth Lake Park Board meeting. July 30th and 31st, all day, are the first days of in-person absentee for the partisan primary. And then August 1st and 2nd, in-person absentee. August 5th through the 9th, all day partisan primary. August 13th is the partisan primary. August 5th at 6 o'clock is the next park committee. That one's not on the list.
Thank you.
August 19th is the next town board meeting. August 27th at 6 o'clock, I wasn't sure of the time, is a tri-tory meeting at the Village Hall. And September 2nd, all day the town hall will be closed for Labor Day.
For tomorrow's Board of Review, do we have any objectors?
Not at this time.
All right, it is a statutory 2-hour meeting. And we can't play cards and we can't tell jokes. We're gonna discuss a lot of assessment issues with our assessor.
The assessor is very informative though.
Yeah, and if you have questions, that's a great time to ask him because, he's the guy, for that, so. Okay.
Can I have Kim sit in my spot?
Hey.
An alternate sit for me.
Why you're gonna be sick?
I believe for next month, we might have to schedule a time for closed session on a request by Chief Jensen's attorney.
Another offer or whatever?
It's a, how do I want to word this? It's a different offer from them, but it just moves around some of the things we've already been discussing.
All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
Barb, second. On the motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. 1 hour and 21 minutes.